Coach Carol coming to you today with the top 10 ways that women control their husbands. So the first would be talking for him, answering those questions. Like if you're at the restaurant and the waitress asks, "Sir, how would you like your steak cooked?" And you pipe in with medium rare, please. Or maybe you go with him to get a haircut, and you stand there and tell the barber to, take a little off here, a little off here, not too short on top. Yeah. Number two would be making helpful suggestions. Perhaps, honey, don't slurp your soup like that. Or buying all of his clothes. Yep, I used to buy all of my husband's clothes. And number three is making decisions for him. Now, if our husbands would just do what we told them, everything would be fine, right? Probably not. Like, advising him to what to wear, or, kind of treating him like he's a teenager and needs guidance on making the simplest of decisions, like when to take his car in for service. We don't need to micromanage any of that, ladies. Number four is the controlling look. Like, what are you doing? My kids used to always say that they could just tell from across the table or across the room. If my eyes sort of rolled at them, they knew they were probably out of bounds. And why is it that I would think that I could do the same thing with my husband? So disrespectful. Number five is asking leading questions like, are you wearing that to the party? Or you're not taking something from the refrigerator for lunch today? Number six is saying, we need counseling. That, my friends, is the most expensive way to control our men. Because basically it's sending a message to him that he's not doing something right, or he's not good enough. And in fact, what I found after dragging my husband to counselor after counselor is that none of it worked. None of it worked long term. In fact, if we weren't fighting when we got there, we were always fighting by the time we left, because tell us about what happened over the last week or two, and it's like ripping the bandage off when we had started to heal. So we always ended up arguing again. Never worked for us. And with so many of my clients who tell me that they too dragged their men to counseling, it never worked either long term. And so counseling is just another way of controlling them. When the truth is that even one person making shifts, it can completely transform the relationship. And I know some of you are going to argue with that, but that's just more control popping up. Instead, when I work with wives and when I worked with a coach, changing me is what ended up changing everything. And he changed too. So that's where the source of your power is, right here. Okay, so number seven way to control your man is to tell him how I would do it. Like loading the dishwasher. Oh no, honey, you got to rinse them first. And notice how I put all the dishes in a row, and I put all the forks in one little basket and the knives and the spoons in the other. Sweetheart, if you would just do it that way, oh gosh. And then I would wonder why he's not loading the dishwasher anymore. Yep. Number eight, criticizing him. Like we think that if we criticize him, that somehow he's gonna change and do it our way. But saying something like, honey, that's not the way you're supposed to load the dishwasher, or you're driving like a crazy man, would you slow down? You're gonna have an accident. In my estimation, or my experience, none of that got him to change. It would only get him to be really irritated. And then we didn't just have a driving or a dish problem. We had a relationship problem. Number nine is making demands. Like, honey, you better get that grass cut today because it's really tall and the neighbors are all going to start talking. Or you need to call your mom. You haven't called her in quite some time. Demands, really, they're not particularly attractive, and it really isn't who I want to show up with as a wife, right? So do you? Number 10, in the top 10 ways to control your husband is redoing what he already does. So for instance, like if he does load the dishwasher, redoing it, but not just that, coming in, redoing it, and then wiping all the counters down, and basically making him feel like what he did was not good enough. Right? It makes him kind of feel like useless. Like, why did I even bother? Men react poorly to all 10 ways of being controlled because they want our respect. Just like women, like we want to be loved, men want to be respected. And when we're controlling them, we are not being respectful at all, and it really pushes them away. It pushes, and even though what we really want is that intimacy and connection, we're actually sabotaging ourselves. We are absolutely sabotaging ourselves, my friends. And so I am guilty of doing all of these things. My name's Carol, and I am a controlling woman. I get it, and I'm trying super hard to turn that around. And by learning how to get on my paper and to stop trying to control his, it has transformed our marriage in a big way. Now, I'm not perfect at it. I still can make mistakes, but I try. I really do try hard by learning how to just stay on my paper. So, right, like when you're at school and you have a desk in front of you, you're not supposed to look at Johnny's paper. You're not supposed to look at Susie's paper. You stay on your paper. That's your locus of control, is in your little world, okay? So by learning how to control my emotions, control my thinking, controlling my mouth, depending on what's coming out of my mouth, right? And not being so sucked into fear that it's the fear that causes me to control. And fear is never from God, ever. So when I'm feeling fearful, quite likely, Satan's trying to poke his little paws in there and have me show up as a wife that is not so loving, not so kind, not so gracious, and really being charitable with my man and giving him grace and giving him permission to learn his ways and make mistakes sometimes. So I really would invite you to dive into the skill of learning how to relinquish control, how to stay on your paper, to show up as your best self. And if you're not clear about who that is, send me a message. Go on, come join our Happy Wife community and reach out. Like, I'm happy to do a free relationship assessment call with you and to see where you're at, see where you want to go, and see if what I teach will get you to create the vision that you really desire, so that you are not that controlling piranha woman. Yep, my husband let me know that he thought of me as a piranha when we got back together years back. And I don't want to be a piranha, and I don't want you to be a piranha. So come and join me, learn the skills, and let's make the best of your marriage. All right, God bless. Talk soon.